back with the Civic. I've run it for 250 miles to break it in. I've been using this Miller's breaking in oil, and then now it's time to move to the proper oil for running the engine, which is this castor oil. Now what we want to do is go underneath the car and not just drop the oil but take off the sump gasket, because it has been leaking a bit. So I've kind of fed up with the original Honda gaskets and I'm moving on to the Fel-Pro gasket. You can see here's the part number, so it's quite a lot more money, but you see it has these space limiters. So the old one is just this rubberized gasket that you can basically compress as much as you want depending on how much you tighten those 10 mils up at the bottom, whereas this one stops you being able to do that, so it shouldn't squish the gasket. The other thing to say is that the pan has little dimples on it, and over time those get crushed flat because people over tighten them, so it doesn't give a very good seal. So the first thing I'm going to do is come in here, jack the car up on axle stands. I've taken off these nuts for the exhaust manifold. I've taken the dipstick out, and I'm going to go underneath and take out the two bolts which have got the spring clamps on them, to take out the whole exhaust manifold. Then I need to go underneath, undo the surround, which is the gearbox support bracket, and then that will show me the sump. And then after I've drained the oil, I can then knock, I'll show you this, in between where the nuts and bolts are, and then that will give the relieving of the sump again. And then I'll take the sump down, place this in with the gasket maker RTV on there as well, and then put it all back up in place. So nice easy job, and let's get to work. These are the spring bolts I'm talking about. There's one here and one the other side. It's a 12mm on the front and a 14 on the back, and you can just take these both out and then the exhaust should be ready to come out. Just underneath the car you can see the amount of oil that's leaking down here, and then this is the brace I was talking about, and this is obviously the exhaust manifold taken down, but this brace goes between the gearbox on the engine to support it. Someone in the comments told me it was from a DC2 Integra, because I think the normal one is actually just a metal cover, whereas this is actually a structural brace that goes right the way around there. I'll show you when I'm taking it off, but you see there's oil all over it at the lowest point, so it's a good time to do this. I've disconnected the lambda plug as well, and you just drop this down like that, and then to the side, and then you can just pull the whole exhaust out like that. That's the plug I took out. Now we've just got the brace to take out, so we've got just some 12mm and some 17mm. Just take them out, then we can drop the brace down. That's that brace off there now, and this is the brace itself. Got a clean pan here, and I'm just going to drop that oil into here, and then we can see what we're working with. It's just a 17mm sump plug, and it's magnetic, so we can have a look what's going on. Dropping the oil, and this is the magnetic sump plug, and you can see I take the oil out of it. There's tiny little bits of stuff on there. Nothing really to write home about. Nothing more than you wouldn't expect for an engine that's just had 250 miles when it's first being turned over. So that's okay in my eyes. What we're going to do is just knock this back off if I can. It's usually incredibly tight. There we go. And that will just speed up the draining process. The Mission Speed magnetic sump drain plug comes with these washers, which have actually their little logo on as well, so you're going to just place that in and tighten it up now so don't forget later. So that's slowed down to a drip, so I've just tightened that 17mm back there up for the sump. I can drag this oil out and have a look at it, and then begin taking all these 10mm out so we can drop the sump down. This is the oil. I can't see lots of shiny bits in it or anything that would show me anything dodgy. No chunks of metal. Obviously I'd be in big trouble if there was. So it all looks pretty good. It's just some old oil really. And then now I'm going to take down the sump. So what I've done is I've just gone round the whole way round the sump here, and I've just used the end of an extension, placed it there, worked the end of it with a hammer, and just aiming to kind of divot each place between the bolts and the nuts. So I've done that the whole way around, and then what that will do is that will mean once I tighten this up, these dimples that were there will be acting more as they used to. So next job now is just to undo all of these 10 mils and drop the whole sump down. Last bolt. So, okay, and this is the oil pickup, still leaking some stuff, some oil down. I'll let that do its job, but I'm quite happy now that I didn't use any sealant, because this is going to be a much easier job now. So just looking in the pan itself, you can see there's nothing really sinister in here. There's no bits of metal or anything floating about, or any kind of, it's not shiny. If you put it in the light, it hasn't got like a kind of silvery glaze to it. It just looks like old oil, which is what you'd expect. So I'm just going to wash this out now thoroughly, because that's just been underneath the car, acting as a drip tray itself. And then once I've tipped all the oil out, I'm just going to use some brake clean so it's completely free of any of the old oil. This is the sump itself, and all of the Honda Bond that could have been on it has been removed. When I built the engine, I wanted to check what would happen if you didn't place any Honda Bond in it at all, because it didn't say that anywhere in the Honda manual that you needed it. But that's probably because these dimples were probably in better shape than they were. But either way, this is the sump itself. I've cleaned it all. I've got the Fel-Pro gasket here, and then underneath I've actually managed to clean the whole of the bottom of the engine in terms of any oil or any residue that was on there as well. So there's the bit of RTV. I've done all those junctions there, and then there as well. And now I'm ready to place the gasket up. So I've got these snap ups. This comes with the kit, and the whole idea is that you there's 4 of them. Place one in each corner, screw those up, and then place the gasket up there where it needs to be. So it's a really nice way of doing it, because they basically allow you to place everything where it needs to go before tightening up the sump. So let's just put these in now. This is the gasket going in there now. I've got these little clips installed, and then I'll just need to line it up. Obviously get it the right way round. So that's going on in there. That one's in there. That's in there. And just going to push the whole thing up. It should just snap up. There we go. That's it up in place. Let's just check it's the right way around. You'll become pretty apparent. Let's just have this camera show. So that's just all in place there to begin with, and now we can just grab the sump itself and place it up in. So now just place this. And the nice thing about those little snap things is that you don't have to worry about the position of the gasket, because it's all in the right place. So it's nice, it's held by, if you just give me the camera, it's held by these little bits there. So without any bolts in, you know it's all looking good. Now I can just grab all my 10 mils and start doing them all up, and then just doing them up evenly so you don't over torque one side. So that is the sump up in place pretty much. Just obviously got these little clip peg things, you can just unwind them now. They've served their purpose. They're very good actually. I think that's really nice how it comes with that Fel-Pro kit. The Fel-Pro kit is obviously quite expensive. I think it's like 50 quid or something like that. But there you can see that's what it does. So now I can just take these ones off, place in the bolts which go in their place, and then just tighten each of these up. The specs call for 105 inch-pounds, which is 11.86 Newton meters. So this is my little torque wrench I've got. So that's 11.86 is exactly there. So I'm joking, it's just below 12 will do. And then just go round, and what you want to do is not just tighten up one side then the other side. I've snugged it all up in place now, but I'm going to just do it in a star pattern, and then at the end I'll just go round and make sure they're all 11.86 Newton meters or just below 12. This is the oil filter I'm going to use, and this is the oil I'm going to use. And yeah, obviously you know it, but I'll tell you. Get the oil filter out, take this little rubber ring on, and then just lubricate both sides of it and just spin it on. Simple as that. Oil filter's on. Now just whacking the exhaust manifold back on there. I've connected the lambda plug at the back, and then I'm just going to tighten up these 13 mils here, which holds the manifold onto the cylinder head, and then I've just got these spring clips, and then we're going to be back down the deck. Here's the lambda plug I just quickly snapped together. It's just the OEM one. This wideband lambda, the AEM gauge doesn't get removed, and then I just did these spring clips up, that one on the other side with a 12mm there, hold it with a 14mm at the back. It's down on the ground, caster edge 5W40, and just whack it in, and then we'll have to spin it over, and because it's got a brand new oil filter, oh dear, going everywhere, so just whack that in there, spin it over because the oil filter will take like a Coke can. So I filled it up to the top, disconnected the distributor, and then span it over a few times just to kind of take the oil through the filter housing and everything. Now I can connect this back up, check the oil level, fill it up back up to top, run it for a few seconds, turn it off, and then just check level again, and then I'm pretty much done.